Recording.
Hi Akshata, how are you?
I'm good, sir.
So Akshata, can you tell us something about yourself?
Okay. I'm Akshata Keshwari. Basically, I'm from Khandwa, Madhya Pradesh, and currently I'm residing in Pune with my spouse. So, as per my educational qualifications are concerned, I completed my BE in Electronics and Communication branch from Chamari Devi Group of Engineering, Indore, and uh, in 2018, and from 2018 to 2023, I continued preparing. I cleared multiple. Uh, I I cleared my first level of government exams multiple times, but unfortunately I couldn't make it to the final selection. So I decided to transition to QA automation
Right.
testing, and for that I took a 6 month remote learning course. From there I learned about Java basics, manual testing, and selling with Java. And since then, I have been learning and getting insights into the testing field.
Right. Now see, whenever you are giving introduction of yourself, so you can
Yes,
tell
sir.
about your name, you can tell about education. You have to, so that
Yes, sir.
preparation that you did for the competitive exams, you can tell, but that you have to wind up in one statement itself because it
Hello.
has no connection with the software testing things, right? Then you can tell about the course, but what is very important is you have to tell about the projects related things.
Sir,
Yeah.
hello. Sir,
Hello.
it got stuck in between. So could you
Yeah.
please repeat?
Sure. I'll repeat. Okay.
Yes.
So I was telling when you are
Okay,
introducing
sir.
yourself. So at the first, you
Yes,
can
sir.
tell about a very short summary about yourself and education. That's it, right? And
Okay,
the
okay.
location that you are from. So even marriage and all these things are not that much important, right? You can just tell about
Okay,
yourself
okay, sir.
and your
Hmm.
location, current location, because that's more important because the interviewers would be looking forward from which location you would be coming. So are you going to work
Mm-hmm.
from the office itself? If you are current to that local to that location, then it would be easier for them. So it is one of the things.
Okay, sir.
Competitive exam preparation that you were telling. So that's fine. You can wrap it up in one
Yes, sir.
statement because it has not much relation with the software testing things. With
Mm.
respect to software testing, you
Okay,
have to
sir.
tell about some real-time projects, real-time things that you have worked on, right? So that would be more important,
Mm-hmm.
right? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how do you derive the test cases from the requirements?
Okay. Um, I will do a thorough study of the requirement first and see what could be the scenarios, like positive, negative, both. I can take example of a pen, like for example. So I will first see the looks, okay, the grip and everything.
Then,
Hello.
yes, Akshata, tell me.
Yes, yes. Because it gets stuck between sometimes.
Yeah,
Okay. So in that way, I will see that a pan is working fine or not, first of all, then its nip. And that thing about the gravity, that whether the ink inside it is not coming outside. Okay,
right.
I'll make sure that it is not happening. And the material it is made up of. So this is the way I will analyze it, and I will go through the functional things and the as we do the performance wise and functional and non-functional, both the things.
Okay. So see, test cases or test scenarios, how those are derived from the requirements. What generally you do, so you'll be getting the requirements, but the
Mm.
requirements would be in the form of huge document. Right? There'll be a lot of documentations would be done for those requirements. Now, in order to identify the test scenarios or test cases, what you have to do is, first of all, you have to come up with some use case diagrams or some brainstorming you need to do. Or you can also go with a mind mapping chart, right? So you can go for those particular techniques and then you can come up with some test cases, which would be testing the functionality to its very core level. We all might be writing test case, but the approach is you cannot directly write the test case from the requirements. You have to break that requirement. You have to design some diagrams, or I was telling about mind mapping. Those kind of things will help your mind, you can also do some brainstorming with your colleagues itself. So with your testing team members, you can do a brainstorming. Okay, then this is the functionality. This is how we can test. You can also use some error guessing technique. Like in the past, you would have
Mm-hmm.
tested that kind of a feature. For example, you were
Okay.
telling an example of, I think, login, right? Or a pen.
Mm-hmm.
You can, and you can tell, okay, this was a kind of a feature that we had got, and how did we approach? What was our strategy at that time? It
Okay.
helped us to find out some X number of bugs. So maybe today also, when we are going to test this feature, this is how we should go forward. So those
Mm-hmm.
kind of things you have to tell. And then what you were mentioning about the pen, you'll come up with the valid test cases, positive test cases, negative test cases. Those kind of things you'll be doing. Okay,
Okay.
so that's very important. So that's a good thing that you came up with. Okay. Uh, Fine. So can you tell me a scenario where you will perform exploratory testing?
Okay. We perform exploratory testing. Uh, Basically, it is performed when there are no predefined test cases,
Right.
and mostly the testers who are experienced, they perform it. They just go through it randomly. They just go through it randomly. There are no predefined test cases, and by guessing, as we can say, by guessing or by their prior knowledge. Okay, prior knowledge, they will perform exploratory testing, and yes, sir. And we perform it when we don't have any predefined test cases.
Predefined test cases. So when you don't have any predefined requirements or any
Requirement.
documentations, right?
Okay, sir.
Okay, now let me share my screen. Is the screen visible to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is a search feature, and this is Amazon.com. This is an
Yes,
e-commerce
sir.
website. So you have to come up
Mm.
with all kinds of test scenarios with respect to this search functionality.
Okay. Uh, Sir, first thing is I'll try
Take
to
your time.
I will do.
Yeah, you
Okay.
take your time. You think on that, then you can start. Yeah.
Okay, sir.
First, you have to go with the positive test cases, negative
Yes,
test
sir.
cases, then performance test case. So both the test cases you have to cover, functional as well as non-functional.
Okay, okay, sir.
Yes, tell me, which are the
Okay,
different
sir.
test scenarios? Yeah.
Uh, yes, sir. First, I will go with the positive ones. So
Yes.
first, I will give a a correct input. Okay, like t-shirts.
Okay.
So while giving the correct input, I will see whether the drop down is giving me the other options for t-shirts or not. Whatever the things they have about the t-shirts, they are providing it or not.
Okay.
And then I will see that whether this if I click on maybe t-shirts for girls. Okay, so is it while clicking on it, is it taking me to the correct page or not? First thing this, and then I will try to give a very that kind of a wrong input. Like I will start with the numbers. Okay, so what kind of input output I am giving, I will check that whether anything coming, because if I give a wrong input, there should not be anything. Okay, there it is, it's an irrelevant thing, so there should be no output for that. So two things: first positive input, and then this wrong input I will give. And then I will see how much time is it taking to take me to another page. Like I will try to test the speed, the the speed, yes, whether it is how much time is it taking me to take me to the another page, the right page.
So
So
that
this
is
I
more
will do.
of
And
performance level test cases.
yes, sir.
Right, right. You're going in the right direction. Yes. Then which are the other test cases or scenarios?
Other test cases will be um, yeah, the length. I will check. how much letters I can put as my input.
Okay.
I will check that too. And what response am I getting after that? That too I will check.
What else?
Uh, so nothing is coming.
Okay,
That's
yeah.
it.
So these are good test scenarios. Apart from this, also you can add what if you are entering the product name with an incorrect
Yes, sir.
spelling?
Okay.
Incorrect
Yes,
spelling.
yes.
What if you are trying to enter a product name with a space in between? What if you are trying
Hmm.
to enter a product name whose products are not listed on this website? Or maybe
Hmm.
those products are out of the stock.
Yes, sir.
It also you can test. You can also
Okay.
test in multiple browsers like Chrome, Firefox, Safari, Edge
Hmm.
browser. You can perform the testing in the mobile-based devices,
Hmm.
right?
Yes, sir.
iOS mobile testing you can perform, right? Because mobile
Okay,
testing is
sir.
also in demand. And also you can do. Apart from this, you will also come up with the API testing scenarios. So you will hit
Hmm.
the API with the
Hmm.
request parameters, and then you will check, you will verify the status code that you are getting 200 or 201, whatever
Hmm.
the status code is there. And along with that, if you enter some incorrect things, are you getting the proper response, or is it a proper status code in that particular case? So the different status codes you'll verify from the API testing perspective.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, you can also test the search functionality by two things. One is you log in into this website and then you search. What
Okay.
if you don't log in? That is, you search as an anonymous user, right? So you haven't
Yes, sir.
logged in, but you are still trying to search. Then you are telling about the time taken. So that is a good test scenario. How much time does it takes to tell you the response of the
Hmm.
products on that particular application? These many products are there. You can also test by doing load testing. For example, you can have some more number of users and try to search.
Hmm.
So there is a load that is applied on the function of this
Hmm.
application website, and you can see how much response you are getting accordingly.
Hmm. Okay,
Right?
sir.
So those kind of scenarios you can take care.
Hmm.
Right. Okay. Great. Okay. What is the process of let's say if you are writing the test cases? So
Yes, sir.
from writing test cases to execution, what is the process that is being followed?
Okay, from so as you have said that first we have to do the brainstorming and then mapping in our mind and
Right.
all. So when the ideas come, we need to write them properly, obviously.
Correct.
And an excel sheet, in an excel sheet we fill all the information, we fill all the things that are coming. So there's a process that we enter first the test scenario id, then test scenario description, then test cases id, test cases description, the expected result, the actual result, the preconditions, the post conditions. So this is the way we will enter whatever is coming into our mind. And for different features we will be able to write the test cases very systematically.
Right. So let's say if you have written the test cases, right?
Yes, sir.
Then from test cases writing to the execution, one of the important step is you will be getting those test cases reviewed by your senior team members. They
Okay.
will be reviewing your test case, whether you have covered all the requirements, whether you have covered proper test data or not, those kind of things they will do. Then
Yes, sir.
they will give you the suggestions. They'll give you the feedback. For example, they'll tell Akshita, you need to add the test scenario for some admin kind of a role as well,
Mm.
or for non-admin kind of a role. Those are the examples, right?
Mm.
Uh, Apart from that, they might also tell you that you have to add the test scenario, the negative test scenario you need to add. Maybe you have added only happy part test scenarios. So they'll give you, sorry, the feedback, the suggestions, and accordingly, you will update your test case. Then again, the second cycle of review will start. Right? So test
Okay.
cases review is important, right? So that is one of the
Okay.
process related step that is happening between the test case writing to your test case execution,
Okay, sir.
right? You're getting your test cases reviewed.
Okay.
Fine. Uh, right. And let's say if they came to know that there was first earlier some defect was there in this particular functionality, so they'll also ask you to add those kind of scenarios, right? That is also
Mm.
one part of review that they can add.
Yes, sir.
Okay, how will you ensure that your test cases, whichever you have written, right, it is
Mm.
covering all the possible scenarios? How would you ensure that?
Sir, requirement traceability metrics.
Right. What is
I will
requirement
take.
traceability matrix?
Okay, sir. It is you. In this, we map the requirements with the test cases. So to
Right.
make sure that all the requirements are being covered and the test cases for each requirement has been written.
Correct. Correct.
So there are parameters for that, like we requirement ID, then requirement description, then test cases, and the status for that. So we make a table, and column wise we fill the information, and that's how we make the requirement traceability matrix.
Okay. Okay. Let's say there is a functionality of add to the cart, right? There is a
Yeah.
functionality add to the cart. That
Yes, sir.
functionality is assigned to you for testing purpose.
Okay,
Okay.
sir.
It's a functionality, it's in the form of a user story that is assigned to you. Now you have to
Yes, sir.
perform the testing and you have been given the time of 5 days. As a
Five
part
days.
of
Okay, sir.
testing estimation, you have been given 5 days. So let's say today is 15th of March, it is Saturday. You have to work from 17th of March to 21st of March on that particular user
Mm.
story. So which are the different activities that you will perform before you start testing that particular user story?
Um, I mean, I have to write test cases for add to the cart.
Okay,
Okay,
yeah.
to check. For that, obviously, I will for add to the cart. I will first thing is whether I'm put able to put the input. Okay, I'm giving the input whatever I want to the search button. Then I will search that thing. Then I will
So
add that to the
you're telling about the
cart.
test cases, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So writing test cases is one of the activity.
Yes, sir.
Apart from
So,
this, which are the different activities that you will perform before you start your work on Monday?
so please repeat.
So let's say you are assigned a user story of
Yes, sir.
testing a add to cart functionality or a feature of an
Yes,
e-commerce
sir.
application. Which are the different activities that you will perform before you actually start the testing? So one activity you told you will write the test cases.
Yes, sir.
Apart from that, which are the different activities that you will perform as a tester before you start testing the user story?
Yes. I'm unable to give the answer.
No
I
problem. No
need some
problem.
time.
This, yeah, you can take your
Okay.
time.
Okay. Okay, so since I have to add something to the cart, I will go to the search. I will go to search and give test all the inputs like wrong, right, as you said earlier, like whether some things that are not in that app are available or not, and do study about it. Obviously, that whatever test cases I can make. So because just to add something to cart, I have to first make sure that there are things available to add to the cart or not. So I will do it in that way. And uh, mm,
Then what else?
I will see the preconditions obviously for that. So the preconditions will be first I will check from the beginning that whether am I able to log in to the app or not, and from there whatever the step by step process is this I will follow, and that I will check. I mean, before adding to the cart, what are the things that should be done before coming to that part, like coming to adding the cart part. So like login is working fine, whether I will test that am I able to log in correctly or not, and then going to the search, then whether am I able to search that thing or not, and then am I able to add that thing into the cart or not.
Okay. See, when I ask you about the activities, right, before
Yes,
you
sir.
start testing. So first activities, you will understand the requirement,
Okay,
right?
sir.
You'll write the test case, that is the another activity. You'll create test data, that is your third activity, right? Test data,
Okay.
maybe you want to add to the product to the cart. So different products that you will check. You cannot test for all the products in the website. So what you can do is you can take one product from the major categories. For example, one product from the electronic categories, that is one from the mobile phones, one product from the maybe clothing based categories, one product from the cosmetic based. So like this, you'll identify 6 to 7 important products that you will consider for the testing. Okay. So you'll understand the requirement, you'll analyze the requirement before you actually start the testing. And one more thing that you can do additionally is you can identify that if this is a new feature altogether or not. If this is a new feature, then to what level you have to test, or you'll identify the performance that is required basically with respect to that particular cart functionality. So you'll discuss those performance kind of things or the non-functional, I would say, the parameters, the timing that it should take. Those things you'll discuss with your product manager, product owners, business analyst, and you will get those details from them. Okay. That if they are
Okay.
telling add to cart functionality, if it is taking, let's say you are trying to add 50 products at a time, it should not
Mm.
take more than 5 seconds or 10 seconds, for example. So that
Okay.
becomes your performance testing scenario. You write the
Yes.
scenario as verify my uh, add to the cart functionality for X number of products should not take exceed 5 seconds or 10
Mm.
seconds, depending on the discussion. Right? So these kind of things
Yes.
are important before you start the testing. You should
Okay.
make sure you should know what are the timings, what are the uh, like the boundary limits that the feature is having, right? Then what are the different test data that is required? So these are the small activities that will play a vital role in your getting the quality of your feature, right? So those
Mm.
things you have to do.
Sure.
Okay. What is the difference between test case and a test scenario?
So test scenarios are a high-level concept in which we decide what is needed to be done. And
Right.
test scenarios contains multiple test cases under them.
Okay.
And test cases is a well-defined set of inputs and conditions uh, that we use to test a specific feature.
Okay. Fine.
And in test cases, uh, we follow a process like we have this test case ID, then the steps to region. There are steps how we can do that testing. Like if I want to go for the login functionality, first I will open the URL, then I will put valid credentials to the login, valid password to the login, and then I will go to the click button and check whether it is taking me to the right page or not. So these things I will write step by step, and then the actual what is the actual result, and what is the expected result, and what's the status. So such kind of things I will write while writing a test case.
Okay. Okay. Right. So let's say you have to execute 100 plus test cases, and
Yes, sir.
you have got only 1 day of time for the execution. After 1 day, the client has told you that Akshata, you have to provide us a sign off. You have to complete the testing
Yes,
and you
sir.
have to provide sign off for sure. Right.
Okay.
So you have just still in 2 days and you have to execute 100 plus test cases. So what would be your approach? Would you execute all 100 plus test cases, or what would be your approach?
Uh, no, sir, I would not check 100 because it's not possible at all.
Not possible,
So,
correct?
obviously, uh, what I can do, if it's functional, so like in black box testing, we do that equivalence partitioning thing in which we divide the inputs into different categories. Like, so
Okay,
we don't have to create so many test cases.
correct.
So if something is relevant, if I can do that thing, so I will go for that first. And then obviously, if this is the case, then exploratory testing also can be done, because it's not possible in a day to execute this much test cases. So by my intuition, by my prior knowledge, by guessing, okay, I can do exploratory testing basically. So these two things I think I can do.
Okay. What you can answer in this particular question is you have 100 plus test cases.
Yes, sir.
So the approach is correct. You cannot execute all the 100 plus test cases, but instead of going for exploratory testing, since you have the test cases with you can
Hmm.
identify the test cases with high priority. So test cases are bifurcated with
Okay.
high, medium, low priority.
Yes, sir.
So first take the test case of high priority and you send
Hmm.
an email to your manager that as of now, let's say high priority test cases are 25. So you are taking first those for the test
Hmm.
case execution. If those are
Hmm.
completed, then you will be going for the medium ones. So there are very less chances you
Okay.
might not be getting the time for low ones. So
Hmm.
based on the functionalities, based on the business perspective, the criticality of the
Hmm.
functionality, you first focus on the test case with a high priority. And you keep
Yes.
your managers, leads in loop. That this is what you have taken the approach. Since you have got only uh,
One
2
day.
days for 100 plus test cases,
Okay. Yes.
right? Okay.
Hello.
Yes. Fine. So what is the difference between smoke and sanity testing?
Okay, so smoke testing is performed when the initial builds are released, when the build is unstable. So
Right.
it's like a preliminary checkup when we check the basic and critical functionalities uh, s- to check whether the build is stable enough so that we can perform the detailed testing further.
Correct.
And in sanity testing, what we do, it is performed on the specific features, like
Okay.
if there is a bug fix, enhancement, or a new feature is added. So just to check whether those new additions, those modifications are not in the existing functionalities, we perform sanity testing.
Right. Right.
And sanity testing is also performed after smoke testing when the build is stable enough.
Fine. Fine. Okay. Okay, Akshata, I am done with the interview. Do you have any questions for me?
No, sir, I just need the feedback.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure. Sure. Yeah. So, from the feedback perspective, I think a couple of questions, two questions. I think from overall it was good, right? Definitely you are able to answer. Your communication skills are good. You've got good presentation skills. But couple of questions that you have to prepare is, let's say there are 2 days left and you have
Okay,
100
sir.
plus test cases. You cannot
Yes,
execute
sir.
all the test cases. So what would be your approach? So you will be going for the approach of executing the test cases which are of high priority first.
Yes,
Second
definitely.
thing is, which are the different activities that you will perform before you actually start test case execution? So you'll be creating the
Yes.
test data, you'll be uh, following up with your business analyst, product managers
Hmm.
about the requirement. You'll understand the requirement. You'll gather the details
Yes,
of the
sir.
requirement because before you
Hmm.
start the testing, you have to get those details. If those are not there, you'll seek the documentations. You'll understand the requirements if those are there. So these two questions, I think a bit of an improvement is required. Otherwise, rest you were
Yes,
able
sir.
to answer. And one more thing is when in an interview you get the questions on test scenarios. For example, tell us the test scenarios of this particular functionality. For example, search functionality. You have to cover all
Okay, sir.
positive, negative, functional, non-functional, security, API level, right? So you have to
Okay.
try to speak for that particular question at least for 3 to 4 minutes so that you are able
Okay,
to
sir.
cover most of the details of that particular answer.
Okay,
Right?
sir.
So that is very important because in this kind of questions, the interviewers would come to know about your analytical mindset.
Yes, sir. Definitely.
Accordingly, they'll be able to uh, shortlist you. And if you're able to answer these kind of questions properly, they'll select you for the next round for sure.
Yes, sir.